Hey guys, welcome back to another Sunday night show. Let's go right into it. Let's go right into the trades that might make you some money this week. And right off the bat, the one thing I want to talk about is, guys, stop freaking out about the market. Stop selling it short. I saw it on Wall Street Bets. You guys are like literally going broke trying to short the market. The market had a huge rally on Thursday and Friday. Never forget the Jesse Livermore chart. Test before selling short, okay? I learned that lesson the hard way, all right? Test, small size, don't go crazy with put options that expire same week or whatever. None of that shit. The market takes time to decide to go down, and going down is a gradual process. It's followed up with sharp rallies that you need to decide whether you short the rallies or you buy the rallies. So here's my advice. When you have major potential inflection points like this, don't go ham. Don't go ham in direction. If you want to reduce risk, but don't be so polarized with your sizing in terms of making a large bet in one direction or the other. Anyway, don't go crazy. I think the Russian war, the Russian-Ukrainian war itself should not impact U.S. financial markets too much. And I think if it does, it normally is a positive effect on many of the US companies. The only thing from this war that I would be worried about in regards to the US financial markets, honestly, is the potential rising price of oil. Oil did spike this week. I recommend you guys trading oil either through crude futures or if you're not into trading futures, just maybe trade USO. It's not the best security, but it'll get you exposure to oil if you want to trade oil. But that's what I'd be watching. Spikes in oil causing a negative effect on the overall market. So, but other than that, I'm not really freaking out too much about that. I'm much more freaking out about the fact that Facebook hasn't had a bounce after its huge sell-off. I think the fate of these major tech companies, whether or not the market decides they're overvalued or not over the next few months as the Federal Reserve starts paring back their bond purchases and increasing interest rates, we're gonna see how the major tech companies, you're talking Facebook, Amazon, the FANG names, and basically the top 10 weighted stocks on the S&P, how they react to that will pretty much determine the fate of this market. You guys recall we had some earnings the week before, and I mentioned this. Roku stock has had a huge move higher. It dropped to 112. I made a quick short video. If you guys like the short videos, please let me know. I'll do more of them on trades as they open up. I obviously can't do them with every trade. I'll try to do them with the most obvious ones. But Roku stock is still worth looking at this week. I'll be the first to say, I bought around 112. I've already taken 2/3 of the position off a Friday on the close, around 139. I still have some left, but I think right now the easy bounce is done. Although it can still grind to 160, the easy bounce is done. And I think there's a potential it can drop from here. But Roku is still a name worth watching on the trade both ways. I would still focus on that due to its enormous drop from 480 within a few months. Netflix, I'm still watching. There's still a lot of action in the name Netflix. I think it makes a great stock to day trade just in general, and Facebook as well. Facebook just started to catch a bounce with the market when it breached below $200 a share, and it's had quite a ride from like 190 on February 24th, and it rode its way higher with the market. So I'm watching those. We're gonna see if they continue. From last week's earnings, what I'm watching this week, Palo Alto Networks seems like it's about to breach an all-time high. So let's watch that. Let's see how it does. It could potentially go down with the market this week as the Russia and Ukraine war still is getting priced into the market and the market decides. But it looks like it wants to break out from here as long as the market cooperates. As long as there's money flowing into the S&P, I think Palo Alto Networks can actually go higher from here. It is a very, it is not the cheapest stock in the book, but it is a tech name, and Usually people do want to pay more for tech names. Shopify finally had its bounce from 585. I actually took a position in Shopify, 20 shares, but it was a pretty good gain. I captured maybe 30 or 40 handles on its points on its gain. So yeah, it was a small trade, but these like $600, $700 trades, they do add up over time. And I'm not rich enough to ignore the value that some of these trades do offer. And, you know, so yeah, you can take some of these trades with small size. DraftKings is another one that I bought 1,000 shares of when it hit 17. I'm completely out of the position because it has a huge resistance right around 22. I wouldn't start accumulating again until it breaks above 25 here with DraftKings. So I think the easy bounce in DraftKings is done. I'm completely out of that. I think Roku can still go higher, but the easy bounce is definitely done from 112. And I think Shopify can definitely go a little bit higher from here, but once again, I think the easy bounce is done. These are all still very tradable names if you watch the action this week, okay? So let's go right into the earnings calendar, what I'm actually watching earnings-wise for this week. Right off the bat on Monday, I'm watching Workday. And Workday is it's basically a software that replaces a lot of your HR systems that a lot of companies might have, handles onboarding and just the administrative tasks related to having employees within your company. So Workday is a stock that I watch because it's a very action-y tech name. And for a trader, that's all we care about. Same thing with the next stock. I'm gonna call it Lucid Automotives. It had quite a drop from 50 down to like 25 right now. We're gonna see if it catches a bounce from here just on earnings. It's had a huge drop, but remember, I talked about this last video. Just because a stock has broken down a lot doesn't mean it can't break down some more. Don't ever have that attitude, oh, it can't go down any further. I'm just gonna put my bottom dollar on it on some call options and YOLO. That's how you go broke, you guys, all right? So just keep in mind a bleed out here can continue. The market seems to be digesting whether or not some of these stocks like NEO, XPEV, Lucid, or any of those are basically worth the value, like the extreme value that is being put on some of these companies. Lucid really shouldn't have $43 billion valuation to begin with, so don't view it as, oh, it's down 50%. You know, it's a cheap stock. It's not a cheap stock, you know, so just keep that in mind. These can bleed out further. Now, Zoom is a name that has had a huge bleed out. Zoom, since its COVID high of like 400, is down to 125. This is another one for Monday. Zoom stock is now around $125. I think its COVID high was around October 16th for 559. And it's an example of, I bet you some people bought dips in Zoom around 403 only to bleed further to 375, where they may have bought another dip only to bleed further down to 319, and then to where it's at right now. It's just a straight bleed out from 388 down to 125. Will earnings save it? We'll see. And keep in mind, although it's cheap relative, that's the key word, to its October high, October 2020 high, it's still not a cheap stock, given its earnings and a few other things. So we'll see if this will continue to bleed out. Some of these pricings that have occurred in October 2020 kind of remind me of the whole tech bubble in 2001. Okay, going forward, there's one other stock. You know what? I'm going to skip that. I think these are going to be the three action-y names. I'll just tell you the name I was thinking about, HLBZ. It's actually a stock that I was day trading at one point because the stock shot up really high, really fast. I think right around actually September. I think I may have used this in my trading video, or I talked about it in a Sunday show, I forget. For those who watch this every week, it should ring a bell, HLBZ. We could see if this spurs some action on this earnings calendar on Monday. So we'll see. On that, Tuesday, we have Salesforce, ticker symbol CRM. I think everyone knows what Salesforce does. They allow organizations to build up profiles on different customers, potentially sell different things to them, potentially pitch and market to different customers. It's a software that organizes all that. So I would watch out for that. Target, if you don't have a Target near you, you're probably in Bumblefuck USA, but that's fine. Nothing against that. Target is actually a retailer that can sometimes be very actiony on earnings. So I would pay attention to Target. AutoZone is one of my favorite trades usually during earnings season. It moves points. So I would watch AutoZone. I thought that was AutoZone. AZO. It is a freaking mover during earnings, and I would definitely pay attention to its move this earnings. It's actually gone up a lot. It's starting to look like the tape is turning negative, but but earnings can easily make up for that. And lastly, on Tuesday, we have AMC, which I think you guys watched a Sunday video a while back. If it breaks below 20 something, I remember calling it, the trade's probably done. Well, the trade looks like it's been broken for some time. I think a lot of the AMC holders are getting their faces ripped off. And that's unfortunate because this is a name you have to cut right away based on valuation alone, future prospects alone. We'll see what happens this earnings on AMC. Just be cognizant that despite it coming down a long way, remember the theme, they can always come down some more. And it's never too late to short sell a stock. I'm not shorting AMC, but it's also never too late to buy a stock potentially like Palo Alto Networks or AutoZone that have had huge runs, okay? So always keep that in mind. And the reason I'm telling you this is for the opposite trade. Remember, it's never too late to short a stock. What I'm essentially trying to say is don't necessarily short the stock, but don't necessarily buy the dip thinking this is a good value for the stock, okay? But I would definitely be watching AMC on Tuesday. Wednesday, the only name I'm really watching from Wednesday's earnings is Snowflake. Snowflake is another, honestly, there are people that are talking about how Snowflake is a competitor to Palantir. And to all I have to say is fuck you. You're completely wrong. Obviously, the market values Snowflake a lot more. And honestly, Snowflake is more marketable towards more companies and it's a less expensive product. But they do two totally different things. Palantir is going for a much more robust solution, organization specific. And I think it's going to be the future, whereas Snowflake, I think, has easy access that other tech, major tech AI firms can easily come in and eat their lunch if need be. Okay, Thursday we have Broadcom, ticker symbol AVGO, and we have Best Buy, ticker symbol BBY. That's it. You guys should know what Best Buy does. It's obviously a major electronics store, but they're really expending a lot of money on their e-commerce site. For that reason, the earnings has a lot of tech related momentum sometimes. That's why I'm watching Best Buy on Thursday, and Broadcom, ticker symbol AVGO, is sort of like a must watch. Anyway, that is more or less it for me. I hope you guys have some stocks you want to watch, maybe buy some dips. If you guys like my short videos, I can probably try to do them a few times a week. Just let me know on some trades that I'm kind of spotting midweek, and we can talk about them, or 1 minute. And please leave a comment if you guys like those short videos, because it'll help me gauge what you guys are thinking, whether it's a good buy at this price or maybe we should wait a little bit longer. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you all very much for your time this Sunday, and see you all next week. Don't go broke. I just want